Welcome to another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love. Mwah. We're out here on a beautiful walk on a gorgeous night. Just gave our plasma. Hopefully somebody can use it and help them with their fight against this virus. But recovering nicely. You're feeling pretty good, right?
I feel great.
Yeah. We wanted to do a video on, I think you called it Love Completely, right? And what do you mean by that?
Love completely. First of all, in order to feel completely loved, you have to know how to love completely. And that starts once again with yourself. So we are assuming that you have complete bulletproof self-love. And therefore now you have that, so you can give it to somebody else. And what happens a lot of times in relationships are we let the little things bother us, right?
Yeah, always.
Always.
It usually is little things.
Right.
I mean, there are certainly big things that
Yes.
blow up a relationship or blow up, whether it be in business or personal or in your love life. I mean, there's certainly big things that happen.
Right, and that's really different. But it's the little things, because honestly, when the big challenges come along, God forbid you have a miscarriage or lose a child or something tragic in your relationship, that's when you just really need each other so much. So we're talking about the petty little things like, and I don't want to say it's that little, because here's one that pertains to Jeffrey and I, is listening. That is just not Jeffrey's top 10 list. It's not in his skill list of his top 10.
What'd you say?
Now, humor is right up there, number 1 and number 2. But listening is just not, it's not up there on his list. And it's something that since we've been together and married 29 years, I've asked you if you would work on your listening skills just a little bit better. And, we keep working on it. And I have learned that I cannot get that tweaked about it, because it's just not one of your skills. Like, reading a map is not one of my skills.
Yeah, but so the things you're talking about, it's all like things that are minute and they don't matter.
Right.
I don't know, I learned this technique a long time ago. It's, when someone's bothering you, think about what would happen if you didn't have that person.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to get too gory in any details, but what if that person just went away? They got lost. They were kidnapped or something.
Or worse, what if they were in some sort of an accident and now they're in a coma, let's say, or they're on their deathbed at the hospital, and here you've been upset with them because they didn't listen the way you wanted them to listen. They're listening to the best of their capacity, but not the way you wanted them to listen. Or they kept putting the heat on and you wanted it off. Something, I'm talking about these petty little things,
This is my technique that I came up with. So it's not like what you're talking about is another one that's terrible. It's like we've said this before. Like if I was taking off somewhere and Karen was giving me a hard time about something, like what happens if I get in an accident or something? We just laugh because obviously it's not funny.
No.
But you realize why you're saying that. I'm talking about. It was a good technique when I kind of came up with this in my brain. I don't know if I read it somewhere or what, but it would be like, okay, what would life be like without that person?
Right.
I don't care if it's a family member, a loved one, or whatever. What would it be like if you didn't have that person ever again?
Right.
Like, I'm thinking about our dog Captain.
Oh
I miss so
my gosh,
much.
I was thinking about him
too. And it's just like, he did some things that, he was such a good boy, and he did some things he was always getting into things and mischief and caused trouble.
Sometimes he did things that weren't so we didn't say good boy too, but guess what? We would take back every single one of those things. I don't care if he's lifting his leg on, everything in the house or whatever it was that, that he would do. We had another dog, Max, the same thing. And, you would take that back,
in a second.
Heartbeat, just to have them back with you. And, that's...
that's the technique. So you put yourself there. So, for instance, just in this example, if Karen is giving me a hard time about not listening, and maybe I did listen, and maybe I skipped over a couple things, and maybe I think she's nagging at me, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, I love her to the core. If it got that bad, I would say, what would life be without her? I mean, I wouldn't want that. So when you put yourself there, you think about, waking up in the morning and that person is there. If you're dating, waking up the next day, you can't text that person. They're just not in your life anymore. Would that be good? And by the way, if you're saying, that'd be great, well, then maybe it's time to pull the plug. Right. We're talking about people that want to make things work, right?
Exactly. That's really core to this conversation. We're talking about marriages or relationships, which have these issues. They all do. Nobody's perfect. Trust me. The two of us could probably write a small novel on things that each other does that both of us would like us to not do. But we don't focus on those things. And actually, as we've gotten older, what we've really tried to do is take those things and turn them around and add some humor to them. Humor really cures so many things, right?
Right.
And, and accepting an apology is so important. It's always been really hard for me to say I'm sorry, but I think what's been harder is for me to accept an apology. And we've had a couple things happen lately, and Jeffrey says, I'm sorry, and I'm like, okay. And that's the end of it. And literally, that's the end of it. It's over. It's gone, and we're moving on. Because, one thing that I hope a lot of people are learning from this, crazy time is that time goes by really fast.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Right? And every second is a moment to be treasured. It's a gift because we just don't know about tomorrow, right? We just don't know. So let those little things go. Again, unless if you really don't care enough about the person, you're going to use the little things as excuses to sort of end that relationship. That's a whole different topic that we can talk about. But we're talking about people that want to be together. Right. And if it's the little things, just release them.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, whether it's not really arguments or someone's doing something, it might be some other things that maybe bother you, other petty things. It might be, could be a shirt that somebody wears. You hate that shirt. Don't ever wear that shirt again. I'm making up. This is stupid, but it's something that it's like things that bother you that really don't matter at all, or maybe the way they chew their food, or the way they snore at night, or whatever it is. It's like you just
so Jeffrey snores sometimes, not often, but sometimes. And when he does, I get really frustrated. Not necessarily with him because I'm so happy he's asleep, but it's frustrating because I can't fall asleep because it's loud. And he's gotten to this new thing where he'll say, "But was I cute?" And it's like, you kind of were until an hour in.
Well, yeah, if the dog's snoring between us, it's so cute. That's why I say that. Yeah, it's so funny. Cute. It is funny.
So try to refocus your perspective on these little things. And, I'm not saying if it's a little thing that really does bother you that they can change.
Yeah.
For example,
well, you can change things, yeah.
I mean, this listening, we've talked about it a lot. It's really important to me that Jeffrey does work on listening to me because I feel that if he doesn't listen to me, maybe he's thinking what I have to say isn't important. And that's not a good feeling. So he's been very respectful about coming back and really working on listening again to the best of his abilities. We can't expect mind readers and miracles. That's really important. Don't expect your partner to be a mind reader ever. Don't say you know what you did. And also don't expect miracles.
No, that's right. That's great. That's good. Right. Good advice.
So baby steps, and and there it is.
I love it.
Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from Copper Mountain.
All right, guys. We'll see you.